guys, welcome back to my channel and another Topic Tuesday here. Today's topic is, what are your favorite non-traditional Christmas colors? And I had no idea what those were. I had to Google it because I'm like, are non-traditional Christmas colors just everything that's not like red and green and like gold and silver? And it's kind of like, yes, but also no. I guess it's just kind of like there are some Christmas aesthetics that fall outside of your typical red and green, gold, silver, but they are still like a cohesive color story, like a cohesive color scheme. It's not something that I experienced growing up. You know, when I was a kid, it was very much just throw up the green tree. We got like red stuff. We didn't even put gold and silver. Our Christmas was red and green. That was all we did. But the more I thought about it, you know, my grandmother, she's a Christmas fiend. She had like 3 or 4 trees in her house growing up, and one of them was completely gold and completely covered in gold ornaments as well, which I think would kind of count as a like non-traditional Christmas thing. And I'm pretty sure it's my brother's girlfriend who has like an all pink Christmas tree. So that's something else that, you know, non-traditional Christmas colors. I felt like I could literally take any color and just kind of explain to you why I feel like it could be a Christmas color. And that's just easy. That's no fun. What I ended up doing was I Googled non-traditional Christmas and I found 5 different inspiration pictures of people who like, they look like they're from like Home and Garden magazine type things. And just a different vibe of the Christmas that was traditional for me, which like I said was just red and green, very plain. And then from there, I looked at those photos and I decided to make 5 different skittle manis based around those pictures that I think kind of fit that version of that person's Christmas. So if you're interested in watching me struggle to put together 5 separate skittle manis, because I'm not great at skittle manis, but I think I did a fun job with this. I had a really good time doing this. Well, then keep watching because I'll show you my inspiration picture and then I'll show you the skittle mani that I came up with based around that person's Christmas. So for a lot of these, I really wanted to mix and match tones and textures, like finishes, things like that, which is not something that I'm usually comfortable doing when I do a skittle mani. Usually when I do a skittle mani, it's either a rainbow or it's a gradient of one color. And I only have one that is like explicitly a gradient. Everything else I tried to be more creative with. I've also never done skittle manis that have mixed finishes, so that was like another new thing for me, but I just felt like with a lot of these inspiration pictures, there was a lot of texture, a lot of different fun elements to incorporate that way. So let's start with the first photo I found, which is like a classy and upscale black and white Christmas. It's like super black tie Christmas, you know? And I think for me, I think this is really pretty, but I think that this could feel really sterile for me after like a week. I'm not classy enough for this kind of Christmas. And at first I thought, oh, I could do that because our living room aesthetic is black and white 80s, but we have pops of color because it's like 80s. So this wouldn't work for me. I couldn't handle this. But I did really like the skittle manicure that I came up with. So I'm going to pop that one up on the screen and I'm looking at a color wheel of what I did. So sorry if I'm looking everywhere. But from pinky to thumb, here are the colors I chose. So on the pinky, I have Cirque's Alter Ego because I knew I wanted a black hollow, and I have a few black hollows. I just feel like the Cirque one in my collection is probably the best. I almost did the Holo Taco one, but when I looked at it, it looks purple compared to the other like truer black hollows that I have, like linear hollows. And so I ended up going with the Cirque one. In like an unlit room, it's really hard to tell that it's a hollow. It looks very subdued, very subtle. But once the light hits it just right, it's a massive rainbow reflection, which is perfect because I didn't want this one to be too overpowering, because the focus of this manicure for me, like the highlight of it, is on the ring finger, which is China Glaze's Night and Sleigh. This actually came out in a Halloween collection, but it has so much silver hollow glitter in it that the polish almost looks silver, but that black base does peek through. I would recommend a glitter top coat for something like this because with one coat of top coat, it still feels a little, just a tad bit bumpy, but this is super rainbowy, and that's why I felt comfortable putting it next to that linear hollow because I felt like that linear hollow doesn't detract from it because it is a more subtle one. On the middle finger, I ended up using from another China Glaze Halloween collection, Evil Queen. This one came out this year. You don't need a matte black, just use a matte top coat over a black you have. I just figured I would use a matte black because I had it. And I felt like it kept in with the color story, but it kind of gave the ring finger its chance to shine while still kind of keeping cohesive. And it's still a fun finish. It's that like flat, very matte look. And that way I could transition into the whiter side of things. So I used Holo Taco's Featured Guest, again, another hollow. This one is also very subtle when there's no direct light. I mean, that's just how hollows typically work, linear hollows. But because it's that lighter color as well, even in kind of like normal lit rooms, I feel like this one isn't as sparkly until you really get it into the light. And since I wanted that ring finger to be like the focal point, I was like, this is the perfect one. I almost picked Picture Polish Lakodam, but it's just too sparkly, I think, for this case. And then finally for the thumb, I just have a mini of this, but it's OPI's Naughty or Ice. It looks a little pink leaning in the bottle, but I really liked the tree in the inspiration picture. It looks like it's just a little bit glittery, a little bit sparkly. And that's why I wanted something that was kind of a flakier sparkle. I didn't want like a blatantly white glitter. I wanted something just a little bit more soft. And so that's why I picked this. And overall, I really like it. I think it's like a more understated because it's black and white, but it's still kind of pow in your face because of that ring finger glitter. Okay, so the second one that I found is like the fun and bright Christmas. And this is the one that I'm in love with. This is probably my favorite picture that I found. It really called to me from a decor standpoint because it's really just fun and bright and over the top while still being really curated and clean in that, you know, it's not overly cluttered. And so I started out with Orly's Neon Paradise on the pinky because for this one, I wanted mostly fun textured finishes, but I did want to have that one pop of green like this. And I just felt like having it in this cream on the smallest nail, I don't know, in my head, I was like, that'll be perfect. And so this is Orly's Neon Paradise. This came out last summer in the Color Pass. That was a really good collection. But yeah, this is perfect for this, I think. And then, of course, you got to have that bright pink tree in there. So I chose Danny Vienna's Star Travel. And this is a like neon jellyish pink with these really tiny star glitters. It's got circle glitters in there as well. I just felt like this encapsulated the tree in this nail polish, and it's perfect. And then even though I could only really find one tone of blue in this picture, I wanted two because I thought that both of these blues would be fun. So on the middle finger, I have Great Lakes Lacquer Kitschy Kippy. It is this super glowy kind of aqua-ish blue. And then next to it on the pointer finger, I had to have Forget Me Not by Picture Polish. This is one of their scattered hollows. It's like just silver hollow in there. And I thought they were gonna look really weird together, but when I held them with the other two colors, I just felt like that looks really nice together. And like the mixture of the textures worked perfectly. And then I was like, should I throw an orange in there? What should I put another bright pop of color? And I felt like it was getting to be too much, that if I put in one more pop of color, it was going to be kind of detracting from the Skittle Mani. And so I noticed there's that big mirror on the back wall of the inspiration photo. And I thought, why not some kind of silvery metallic, maybe a foil? And I ended up picking Sonia Kashuk Smoke and Mirrors. And I just think that the whole thing, it's hectic. It's like all over the place, but it's fun. It's just fun. And it's the same fun that this inspiration picture is, you know? At least I think so. I think I did a good job. The third picture I found isn't like explicitly Christmas, and that was why I picked it, because I felt like it's more winter or like holiday season overall than it is specifically Christmas, and I wanted to do at least one like this. And because it's very blue heavy, it could also lean towards Hanukkah as well if you wanted, but this is a perfect all season manicure, and that is this 5 blue It's all creams. This is the only really plain one I did, but I figured I would do it in matte. There's something about that matte finish that, I don't know, it just feels very wintry to me. It looks soft, it looks velvety, and it just reminds me of being very bundled up and very cozy. And I was like, so whenever I do a skittle manicure, I try to put the darkest color on my pinky and go like dark from the pinky and then light to the thumb, because taking off dark polishes is a pain, and the smaller the nail I have to take it off of, the less of a chance I'm gonna make a huge mess. That's my secret, guys. So for the darkest shade, I chose Loud Lacquer's Sleep Police. It's one of those dark, almost black leaning polishes, but once I put the top coat over it and once it was sitting with the rest of them, you could tell that it was blue. You could tell it was in that blue color family. After that, on the ring finger, I chose Smith & Colt's King and Thieves, and this is like kind of a royaler blue, and I just, like I said, I tried to gradient this out. The middle was the hardest one for me because I just didn't feel like I had a mid-tone blue that isn't also super bright, and because I was trying to do dusty or darker colors, everything that I had, it was either really dark and dusty or really light and dusty, but I don't have a lot of middle dusty colors. But I figured once I put the top coat on it, it would give it that quality. And I ended up using Orly's Blue Tango, which it is a little bit dusty, but like I said, in the bottle, it looks more bright than the other ones. Here's how they look in the bottle, so they just don't look like a good gradient in the bottle, but on the nail with the matte top coat, I think it does. On the pointer finger, I chose Color Club's Take a Chill Pill, which is just kind of like a nice sky blue. And then for the pinky, because what I end up doing when I do gradient nails, I pick the darkest and the lightest color and I set them on either side, and then I pick and fill out the center. So one of the first ones I ended up picking, which went on the thumb, is Zoya's Blue, which is this, it almost looks like a white with a hint of blue-gray in it. It's so pretty. And just in this whole gradient, I just feel like that looks amazing. I love it. I mean, I made it, so I better love it. All right, the next two, they might come off as a little bit more traditional, but like in the most traditional sense. They're not traditional for me, so that's why they're on this list. So number 4 is the Cozy Cabin Christmas. I feel like there's like a whole genre of people in the US who, for Christmas, they go to a cabin with their families and they do like a whole cabin thing. My family is not like a cabin family. We're not. We're just not. So we didn't do this. But seeing this picture with all these like browns and cream colors, even though it is very distinctly a Christmas photo, I was like, perfect, I can do a really nice manicure with that. And I ended up picking a pop of green as well, because for me in particular, I love when neutral tones are paired with a very natural, like planty looking green. So that's what I have for you today. So on the pinky, and this one I went a little bit more subtle on the finishes. I only used 2 fun finishes. The rest are creams. On the pinky, we have Picture Polish Henna, which is a brown jelly. It's like a very light, maybe not light, but more like middling brown. And I love this. This is one of the first jellies I ever got, and this was what kind of got me into jellies in the first place. It's a weird color to have a jelly of. And then I knew that I wanted to incorporate like cream tone. This may not be a surprise to you guys, but I don't have very many cream colored polishes. I'm not a big white or cream wearer, but luckily Orly sent us in the fall color pass, Ceci n'est pas blanc, which is this not a white. It's not white, but it's like a white, but it's got a drop of something in there that just makes it a little bit cream toned, or even just like a little bit gray. And I felt like that fit. And then I had to have my green color, and I wanted something that looked like Monstera color. So I chose Zoya's Mel, and I just felt like this was looking so rustic. And then I ended up picking a color that I think is so ugly. When I got this as like a free gift from Zoya, I was like, what is that? But it fits really well in this manicure. And it's either Charlotte with 2 T's or Charlotte, but that's a city in Michigan, so I'm assuming it's Charlotte. Because I wanted something kind of tan, and I was gonna use Holo Taco's See Y'all Later Chai, but it was too dark for what I wanted. And so I felt like this one is distinct enough from the Orly, but it's still in that same kind of tonal region, so perfect. And then I wanted something fun and kind of like in your face, because this whole manicure is very subtle. So I figure we have to have 1 star of the show, and I chose Holo Tacos Choco Holo. This is a seasonal polish that I think they just re-released it pretty recently here, and it is a brown holographic glitter, and it is on the darker side compared to henna. So we have a couple varieties of brown in this one. Now, the final picture, you could argue falls in traditional, but to me, I feel like this is kind of like a twist on a classic rather than actually traditional because of the green tone used in this picture. As soon as I saw it, my brain was like Zoya Eunice. That's Zoya's Eunice. And I was like, I have to base a whole manicure around Zoya's Eunice because that polish actually did come out in a Christmas or holiday collection. And I was like, why would they include that? I just thought like that's not a Christmas color. And the more I look at it now, and when I look at the manicure that I'm about to show you that I put together, I'm like, this is actually like super vintage. Like this is super vintage Christmas. I think I wasn't alive around that time. So I don't know. It could just be that I decided this is what old Christmas looked like. But it reminds me of the colors like when you see really old magazine ads, the colors that you'd see in those ads. Maybe it's just because they don't have like the vibrant printing abilities that we do in 2022, but they looked more washed out like the manicure I'm about to show you. And yeah, this one's kind of traditional, but it's like vintage. So it's not traditional. It's cool. It came back around and it's cool again, you know? So since we were keeping it vintage, I decided to use one of these Sally Hansen chrome polishes. This one is Rose Pearl Chrome. This is from 2002. That's not vintage, but it's 20 years old, so whatever. But yeah, I've never actually used one of these before. I just have them just to have them. And so I put that on the pinky because I wanted something kind of silvery and I didn't want anything like blatantly like chrome metallic. And so this one is like a little bit softer. Like Essie's No Place Like Chrome is just too vibrant. I wanted something a little bit duller. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I chose this one. And then of course ring finger, because to me the ring finger is the accent nail. Like when I think of the traditional accent nail, it's the ring finger. So the most important polish has to go on the ring finger, and that's Zoya's Eunice. I am obsessed with this one. I ended up painting my boyfriend's nails in our little Q&A this color, and I found out when I told him the name of this, he told me that his dad, if he had been born a girl, was gonna name him Eunice. And I was like, but you were born in 1990. And he was like, yeah. I'm like, nobody in 1990 was named Eunice, dude. Like, what the heck? I don't know. They all picked wild names. So, and then because I was like, well, we're doing a twist on the classic, we got to have a red that's going to go with that green because red and green are classic Christmas, but then we need like the washed out version, right? And so I ended up going with Zoya's Channing. And I feel like these two are like the exact colors I see in those old Christmas ads. So perfect. And all the fun finishes that I picked for this one, because I do have one cream, but all the fun finishes have some kind of a metallic element to them, I feel like. And I really like that even though they weren't all the same type of metallic, they still had that metallic cohesion. For the pointer finger, I was struggling to come up with this because this was the 5th color that I chose. I couldn't decide what to pick because I already had the other 4. And then I thought, well, a white will tie it all together, but I didn't want something super starkly white. I wanted something that had a little bit of softness to it because sometimes whites can be just too bright. And so I ended up picking this London Town lacquer one, and this one's called Chelsea Porcelain, and that's perfect. That porcelain tone, I feel like it's great because it's not overshadowing everything by being like this like stark in your face white, but it's still doing its job. And then of course you have to have that more antique gold color. And so I chose OPI's Gift of Gold Never Gets Old. I would absolutely never wear this. Like I don't like antique golds. Don't ask me why I have this. Just don't. We don't need to worry about that. When I bought this, I did want to wear it. I did wear it a couple times. So I don't know, like nowadays, I just don't like antique golds. I like a warmer gold. But with these colors, I was just like, yes, it's perfect. I'm going to break these. And I just feel like the whole manicure it's like a little bit cheesy, a little bit vintage, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, those were my 5 non-traditional manicures that I did with like, I guess, non-traditional Christmas colors. I had a lot of fun doing this. I was kind of stressed out about this video when I saw the topic because I was like, what am I gonna do? And then suddenly I had this idea to look up like inspiration photos, and I did, and then I'm like, I can't just pull one color, because if I was like, this is a non-traditional Christmas color, you guys would be like, yeah, it's green, like, okay. Or like, here's another non-traditional Christmas color, and you'd be like, how it's blue, how are you justifying that? But when I made these overall color schemes here, and when I made these little skittles, basically, I ended up really enjoying it and having way more fun with this video than I expected. And I think that next year I'm gonna do more of that. I feel like it was fun to find an inspiration photo and then try to build a manicure around that photo. So let me know what you guys thought of this. If you liked it, if you didn't, let me know how well I matched my Skittle manicures to my inspiration photos. I would love to know. It was really fun. So if you guys want to do this, I definitely recommend it. It was a fun kind of way to sort through my collection as well and kind of like dig through, and I was playing with swatch sticks for like a couple hours actually, because I got a little carried away, and just like putting them all together. So yeah, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.